Your Olympic hero has arrived. It's true, it's true.
Alright, boys, you ready for a spicy one today, for a hot take? Because I have seen so many people talk about the Vince McMahon lawsuit that's going on right now, and I'm really fucking sick and tired of everyone just taking it as a given that the shit this chick says is true. Because I've been listening to Nick Rekieta do a reading of the actual document, the complaint document, and the more this bitch talks, the less I fucking believe her. Because there's so many times in the story where she's given an out and just comes back. Like, literally, she says that the job interview she had, he was in his underwear, in his condo, and that was the fucking job interview, right? She claims that happened. Why the fuck would she still go for the job? Like, she just sees that, you know, the $75K a year, she's like, cha-ching, baby, I don't even care. And then, like, she's like, oh, well, I had to send nudes to reciprocate because I was so scared. Oh, I had to, like, you know, send messages talking about how much I loved it because I was so scared. Like, legitimately, he literally is done with her, sends her off, and, like, actually, like, you know, once she's out of the company, he's paying her off. Like, in this story, again, this is, again, in her story, in her version of the story, he literally tells her, you're probably not going to hear from me again, and then she's like, no, I want to stay in contact. And again, this is her version of the fucking story. Like, there's so much of this shit that, first off, it's crazy. Like, maybe she thinks that she just says the most outlandish, crazily specific stuff that people just believe it. Like, maybe that's the case, but, like, I'm fucking sick of it. Like, I see all these wrestling channels that are like, should Vince McMahon be erased from WWE forever? And, Vince McMahon is a monster and all this shit. And it's like, dude, first off, this isn't even a fucking criminal case. This is a civil case, so clearly this bitch just wants money. And people might bring up he's had scandals and shit in the past before, but again, he's a billionaire. There's a monetary incentive for people to go out after him. And let me be clear, like, it's certainly possible, like, I don't doubt that Vince McMahon has had some scandalous affairs, right? Like, he's a billionaire. Like, I don't even doubt that this chick could have been, like, a paid fuck toy. But there's so many times in this story that it sounds like she's given consent, basically. Like, there's so many times in this story where she just keeps coming back and saying, oh yeah, I went back because, you know, I was scared. But, like, literally, she has no reason to be scared, especially at the end, when he's like, you know, oh, you're probably not going to hear from me again, and he's already going to be giving her $3 million. That's when she's like, oh no, I want to stay in touch. It's like, what is this shit? Like, what is this bullshit? Like, this chick has no accountability for her action. Like, I'm sorry, whores are not victims. If she was actually someone who was just whoring herself out for money, I have no sympathy. That she got paid a ton of money to fuck people. Like, that was her choice. Like, she goes on and on about her career. It's like, your career in your version of the story is just laying on the bed and taking it. That's your career. Like, obviously, if, like, the elements of force and stuff were true, that's obviously bad. Like, obviously, I don't know for sure what actually happened. But the point is, I'm fucking sick and tired of everyone just taking it as a given what this bitch says, just because Vince McMahon is a controversial guy, just because Vince McMahon is a billionaire. Like, I don't believe a word of this. The more I hear of her story, the more I'm like, she's either the most retarded person in the world who keeps coming back and putting herself in these situations with no common sense, and, again, there's multiple points in the story where she kinda indicates consent. It's ridiculous. And again, this is coming from her version of the story, which is written to be as favorable to her and as unfavorable to Vince as possible. And hearing it just makes me believe her less and less because it's just so much... It's so fucking stupid. It's like, oh yeah, like, I felt that I needed to send nudes. Oh yeah, I felt that I needed to reciprocate. You know, oh, I felt that I needed to send him, like, love messages telling him how much I liked it. Like, what the hell is this? Like, you know, she's like, oh, I had no choice. You know what your fucking choice was? Don't take the job in the first place. You're honestly gonna tell me that in current year, right? Like, I mean, granted, I think it was 2023 she filed the complaint. And she supposedly worked there for, like, 4 years, too. So you're telling me you were able to put up with this shit for 4 years? But you're honestly telling me in a post-Me Too era, you're telling me you think you're scared that his lawyers would be able to get the better of you? You're scared of this? You're scared that you wouldn't be able to win? Like, here's the thing. As stupid and fucking unbelievable as this story she's telling is, a jury in modern day would probably buy it, because everyone's a bunch of simps who doesn't want to fucking question women who claim that they're victims, because they don't want to seem like assholes because they're questioning victims. But it's like, You're not a victim until you're proven a victim. I'm sorry, that's how the court works. That's just how it is. And that's fucked up, and it's sad that, you know, people will get fucked over by that. But all this Me Too shit has just made me less and less inclined to believe this shit. Like, anytime I hear a scandalous story come out nowadays, I'm less inclined to believe it than ever before, just because of all this fucking girl who cried wolf shit we got going on. I will say that the details of her story are kind of funny in a dark sort of way. Like, there's the part where he claims that she shit on her face. And that's pretty gross, and, like, there's a lot of really gross and stupid shit in it that is kind of funny. I don't believe a word of it. Like, here's the thing, it's possible Vince is into some freaky shit. And again, I wouldn't doubt that she was basically a paid whore. Like, I don't doubt that being possible. And, you could argue that obviously that wouldn't be right, but I also wouldn't... I would say that that wouldn't be entirely on him. Like, she would be the one who fucking did that. Like, again, multiple times in the story, she implies that she was okay with it for a long time. And, like, there's a couple of parts in the story where she says that, you know, he forced himself on her. And those parts are obviously bad, if true. But, the credibility of her story is just lost to me because she kept fucking coming back. Like, all these cases that I hear, right? Like, Vic Mignogna, that fucking, like, that was a fucking catastrophe where it was nothing to it. Vic had an affair, and fucking people found out, and then, like... then, you know, a bunch of the voice actors basically conspired against him to make up a bunch of shit that wasn't true and get him fired. And then, you know, there's, like, Justin Roiland, right? There was the stuff with his ex-wife. Then, you know, he was found not guilty on that shit, but he already got fired from his jobs, and he hasn't been reinstated or anything. Like, there's so many times that all this shit happens. The only time... And it's funny, because I hear people say, I think all the Me Too stuff is coming to an end. I think we're really starting to actually win it. This is a white pill. It's like... They say that because Johnny Depp won against Amber Heard, but he's fucking Johnny Depp. He's hugely popular, women find him attractive, and he's fucking loaded. He's got a ton of money. Like, to act like just because Johnny Depp was able to win, you think that it's over? No, it's far from fucking over, dude. Bitches are crazy and will do anything they can to ruin a guy because they want monetary or reputational boosts. They gotta have these precious woe-is-me victim points, and I'm so fucking sick and tired of it. And also, I'm sick and tired of, like, human trafficking being a term that gets devalued by this shit. Like, because they call Vince McMahon a human trafficker. It's like, to me, when I think human trafficker, right, what I'm picturing is some shit like Taken, where they're kidnapped and forced into sex slavery. Like, I think that human trafficking is a term that is widely overused. Like, especially when you got, like, bitches like Eliza Blue, who, like, she was in, like, a music video, and now she regrets it, so she, like, does, like, copyright takedowns of it, and then claims that people who shared it were trafficking her. That's fucking nutty. Like, this fucking shit, like, this believe women shit is fucking pathetic and needs to stop. Like, people are fucking ridiculous. Like, again, and I'm not even saying that Vince McMahon is a saint. Like, I am sure Vince McMahon has done his share of shady shit, because Vince McMahon is a billionaire who's been a billionaire for decades. So, it's probably likely that Vince McMahon has had his share of lurid affairs. But I'm not just gonna buy someone's word as a given that he did all this ridiculously outlandish shit just because of that. I think that just buying it is fucking retarded. Like, there's so many people that I see report on it and just take it as a given. They just believe it immediately. And fuck that. I think that's fucking stupid. Like, unless you're like a material witness there and you saw it, like, how can you fucking prove this? Because again, there's plenty of things that she sent back to him that kind of imply consent. There's a lot of problems in her case and a lot of holes you can poke in it. And again, that's assuming that any of it is true. Like, I'm so fucking desensitized to this shit because of all these stupid false reports and shit that you see, and all these fucking attempted cancellations on people. It's fucking pathetic. And another note, every single one of these stories act like women have no free will. Women want to be taken seriously and treated as equals until it comes to accountability. They don't want to actually be held accountable for their actual actions. They don't actually want you to think that they are capable of making decisions unless it's convenient. You know, when it comes to things like voting and shit like that, sure, then they have free will. You know, when it comes to making an OnlyFans and shit, oh yeah, totally. But, like, when it comes to, like, you know, them versus a man, no, she had no free will. Not to mention, they keep pushing for sex work as real work. I mean, what do you think is the natural end result of that? It's fucking ridiculous. And, then people bring in shit like, you know, power dynamics and celebrities and shit like that. It's like, First off, relationships, every single relationship type has, like, you know, a power dynamic. It's just nature. That's how it is. But on top of that, every single, like, you're gonna tell me that a celebrity has to date someone just as famous as them? Because that's fucking retarded, too. Fuck that. And even then, like, you can make the argument, what constitutes being as famous as someone? Like, it's crazy to me to think that people are so fucking gung-ho against the concept of power dynamics, too, that they have to be like, oh, no, we gotta make sure that you date someone just as famous as you, which is fucking retarded. Like, that just seems like a status play, too. Anyway, that's all I really have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed my spicy take. This has been Fugitive Red Eye. Have a good one. Toodles.
You're not funny and nobody likes you.
Subscribe to Fugitive Red Eye.